In this video, we're going to help you get started with H5P, and specifically the activity type interactive video. This video is part of the IALLT Learning Community webinar series. IALLT is the International Association for Language Learning Technology, and if you'd like to know more about our webinars, you can visit ialt.org/webinars. I'm presenting today. My name is Shannon Spasova, and I'm from Michigan State University. If you have any questions about this webinar or about any of IALLT's webinars, then you can contact me at spasova@msu.edu. In this video, we're going to talk about what is H5P. We're going to briefly talk about some of the activity types available in H5P, though for most of the video, we're going to focus on one of them. Then we'll talk about some of the steps that you need in order to create one of these activities, specifically the interactive video, and that is creating a free account, choosing a video, adding interactions, and then how to share your H5P activity. So what is H5P? You can find it at h5p.org. And this is an application that offers you a way to create free, portable HTML5 interactive activities. These can be employed in any website, and since they're HTML5, this means they're mobile friendly. They can work on mobile devices, and what responsive means is that they can adjust to the screen size. So no matter what device your students are using to access your materials, the materials should and do pretty well adjust to that screen size. If you are working in WordPress, Moodle, or Drupal, there are native plugins that exist. But content can also be embedded into any website or any course management system that accepts embed code. We'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. Content can also be shared between platforms, and there are some other course management systems for which integrations are being worked on. H5P has about 30 activity types available. Some of them are pretty common, like multiple choice, fill in the blanks, but some are more unusual. And here we're going to look at a few of those activity types, just to give you an idea of what H5P can do. You can see here a simple multiple choice activity. Mark the words allows you to designate words that the user will click on in order to indicate the correct answer. Fill in the blanks is pretty self-explanatory. I'll just check one, show you what it looks like. I got only 1 out of 3 points. I can retry. Drag the words is a useful type. Drag and drop, similar but with images. Questionnaire can allow you to ask your learners their opinion about something. You can employ a simple true-false, but as you can see, you can customize the buttons. Course presentation allows you to integrate several types of activities into one presentation. Find the hotspot allows you to designate parts of the screen that will give what type of feedback. And you can create a timeline with images or video. I have listed here what I think might be some of the most useful activity types for language teachers. And then I've listed some of the more unique activity types that you can't necessarily find as easily in other places. For the rest of this video, however, we're going to be focusing on one of the activity types, which is interactive video. And I will show you one example of an interactive video to give you an idea of what you can do with it. Here we have an example of an interactive video that's using a Russian cartoon. I will just show you a few parts of the video here. So as you can see, you can use the interactions to give a gloss, or you can use the interaction to give some kind of background cultural information. In this case, on the TV, the announcer is talking about the 1st of September, which everyone knows is the first day of school. And so that gives some important context for what's going to come up in the video. You can also include quiz questions here. So this relies on the learner being able to look at what's behind on the video, and then they have to drag and drop. In this interaction, I've included an image that shows what looks different about Russian handwriting of numbers. So you can include not only text, but also images. Now we're going to look at interactive video, which is one of the more useful activity types for language teachers. This is a list of the types of interactions that you can include in an interactive video. There are some that are static, that would just appear on the screen. So a label, a text, a table, a link, or an image. But you can specify how long you want them to appear and how big and where on the screen you would like them to appear. Then there are quite a few interactive types. So there are several types of multiple choice questions: true, false, fill in the blanks, drag and drop, mark the words, drag text, and questionnaire. And then there are also several interactions that are more navigational, but you could also use them for some kinds of questions. Crossroads means a place in the video where you can specify that the learner would go to a certain point in the video depending on a choice that they make. A navigation hotspot is where you designate a part of the screen, and if the learner clicks on that part of the screen, then the video will go forward or backwards in the video. And then there are bookmarks that you can use to help learners navigate throughout the interactive video, sort of like a table of contents. So now we're going to try creating an interactive video. In order to create a free account, you should go to h5p.org and create a free account. And then once you get into H5P, you should click on My Account, and this is what you'll see. I have content here that you can see that I've made before. Yours will be empty, but what you should do is click on Create New Content. And the first thing you'll have to do is to decide on a YouTube video that you would like to integrate into your interactive video. Of course, you can also create your own video that you would include. For our example, I'm going to choose one from YouTube. I have decided on this Russian cartoon, so I'm going to take the URL and copy it. I'm going to create a title, and then I have to choose the content type. If you start typing in interactive video here, it should come up, and then you click Use. Now I can put in my video. I click this plus sign and then I will paste my YouTube link. As you see, you can also upload your own, although if you use the h5p.org site, it has a limit on the size. So I have inserted that. There are a bunch of choices for how you might want to customize. I usually leave it the same, but at some point you might want to explore what those are. And then when I'm ready, I go to step 2, which is add interactions. Now I'll show you how to add some of the interactions into the video. So if we want to add a text, we click on the T button, and here you have some choices. You can have it display for a certain length of time. You can have it pause the video or not pause the video. So I'm going to put that it's going to start at 5 seconds and it'll last 5 seconds to 10 seconds, and I'm not going to have it pause the video. You can have it display as a button, which means that people, when the video comes up, it will be a button and they'll have to click on it to open it, or you can have it display as a poster where it's already open. So I'm going to type something in here, and then I'll say done, I have to actually go to 5 seconds in here to see it appear. There it is, it has appeared. And if I want to make it bigger or smaller, I can do that. I can drag it where I would like to in the screen. And once I start it, it will stay for 5 seconds until 10, and then it will disappear. I'll show you how to add a multiple choice question. Here again, I have the choice of when it will appear, when it will disappear, whether it will pause the video, and whether I want it to open be open with poster or have where you have to click it to open. You can include some media at the top. It can be an image or a video. And then you have to type in your question, your possible answers, and then say which is the correct answer. And then you can also include some targeted feedback, which can be really useful. If you want, you can add more options. There are quite a few extra settings here if you'd like to explore them. But I'm just going to click done, and then my question appears. I can position it how I like on the screen, big or small, where I'd like it to go. And there it is. You notice that at the bottom here there are blue dots. That's when it's a kind of static interaction type, and then a red dot when it's an interactive one. I'm going to show you the interaction type called drag text. And it is, the way you make it is very similar to both fill in the blanks and mark words. So we have instructions here, and then all you need to do is add in text and put asterisks around the words that you want to be draggable. I'll show you what this looks like. So now I've typed in some English words and some Russian words that would be matched to them. The ones that I want to be able to be draggable, I've put in stars. So when I click done here, you can see that they have been replaced by blanks. And then at the bottom, we have the words that can be, or the phrases that can be dragged. Now I'm going to save so that we can see what we've done. You see the dots at the bottom here. If I click play at 5 seconds, my text is going to appear. It will stay for 10 seconds. We see it come up there. And then if I find my next red dot here, I think it's going to appear at 13. It will show the interactive. Here it is. And if I choose the correct answer to my multiple choice question, it will say star. And then I can continue. If I want to click ahead, I can click ahead to the draggables. So if I skip a little bit here, you see it appears. I drag them to the right place and check and see that I got it right. And now if I want to edit my activity more, I can just come to the top and choose edit. I click on this step 2, add interactions. And then I can choose any of the other interactions I'd like to do. The one I just showed you, drag text, the way you create it with those asterisks around the answers is very similar to the way you would create mark the words as well as fill in the blanks. I also want to show you one activity type called crossroads. I'm going to choose a point here in the video. Obviously, if you were making this, you would choose strategically. For now, I'm just choosing kind of at random. But if I choose then my crossroads, then I will say something like, which character do you want to see? And then depending on what the learner chooses, they will skip back to somewhere in the video. I'll show you how that works. So I have given the learner 2 choices, Volk, the wolf, or Zayats, the rabbit. And if they want to see the wolf, they will go back to this time. If they want to see the rabbit, they'll go back to this time. Obviously, if I were making this for real, I would have chosen these times strategically. I just chose them kind of randomly at this point. So if I click done, here I have my crossroads. I could move them around, make them bigger or smaller. And then if I click save, I can see how it works. When I get to this dot here, and I think it's a green dot in this case, I click here. Then, depending on which one I choose, I will go back to that time in the video. So that could be really interesting. You could have students go back depending on what they need to review, for example, or you could have them skip around in the video depending on some kind of storyline, for example, something like choose your own adventure. There are several other interaction types, but the last one I want to show you for now is this one called Navigation Hotspot. When I click it, it asks me to give a time code, and that will be to where the learner will skip if they click in the right place on the screen. So for now, I'm just going to say that this is going to click back to, or skip back to 30 seconds in. I click done. And then I have to choose the area that I want them to click on. So then if I want to have some kind of prompt, I'll want to add in a text. In this case, I added a text that says click on the rabbit. So I'm going to put that at the top here. And then I will save it. And we'll see what it looks like. In this case, it's a blue dot. So once we get to the blue dot, it says click on the Zayats. And if I click on the Zayats, that will skip the video back to 30 seconds in. So let's try it. There are a few other interaction types that you are able to add in here. I've shown you some of the maybe most useful ones, but of course, once you get comfortable with those, you're welcome to explore some of the other interaction types. And now I'm going to show you how to share your H5P interactive video with your learners. I'm going to talk briefly about how to share your H5P activity. Some of it depends on what platform you're using. If you have Moodle or WordPress or Drupal, then there is a native plugin available. You might need to get your administrator to turn it on or enable it. Some other course management systems have integrations coming in the near future. But if you don't have a plugin available, you can always use the embed code, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm using my Russian cartoon here as an example. I'm going to save it. And then at the bottom of it, you can see this little symbol that looks like a less than and a greater than and says embed. When you click that, you come up with some code that you should copy. I just copied it. And then what we're going to do is paste it into an HTML editor. I'm using Desire to Learn here, but in whatever course management system you're using or whatever website you're using, you can probably find a similar editor. And so I'm creating a file in this part of my course website. And what I need to do is paste that code that I got off of the H5P site. The way to do that is I need to find this embed. You can see it looked similar. It's the less than and the greater than. So if I click that and come kind of in the middle here, put that code in, say save, and then I can see that it has been put in there, and I'm going to say publish. And so that will put my interactive video within the page in my course management system. And like I said, you can do this in any web page that will accept embed code, and many of them do. Most course management systems should be able to do this without any problem. If you have any particular questions about sharing the embed code in your course management system, putting it into the HTML editor, then your technical support people at your university should be able to help you. But it should be a very similar process for each course management system. So now you have learned how to create your own interactive video, put in several interaction types, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me, Shannon Spasiva, at spasiva@msu.edu. And thanks for checking out our IALLT asynchronous webinar.